for attending this session. We are very honored to have Young to share with us about the cybersecurity immunity system today. So let us have a minute and let's hear from Young what he has to share.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, David. So good morning, everyone. And this is Young from IBM Security. So I'm the security leader for the education and healthcare sector. So maybe just a brief high-level overview of what IBM Security does, just to familiarize yourself with what we do. So currently, we are the largest enterprise cybersecurity vendor in the market. And at the same time, we have more than 8,000 security consultants across the globe. Just a couple of months back, we actually deployed more than 300 security operations centers around the globe. So at the same time, we are working very closely with Ready Space to help us go to market, where many of our customers are onboarding onto the platform as a service or infrastructure as a service, where we could actually help them secure their environment. And maybe towards the end of today's seminar, we will actually also share on one of the more recent cyber attacks around the globe, and how we actually what we have been covering over the past 1 week in helping our customers ensure that they are not susceptible to the ransomware attack. So with that, from the title slide is the cybersecurity immunity system. So the reason why we call it the cybersecurity immunity system is because when we look at the cybersecurity posture of many of our customers, we are constantly looking at what we consider as an immune system. Are we able to have visibility into the different the so-called a person, when you go to the doctor, you're able to see what are the symptoms of illnesses or diseases, and how else could we have do so-called different kind of scans on the person to see what are some of the potential issues that we could resolve with. So and what we recognize that it has to be a constant iteration of improving the security posture of our customers and their landscape, and to constantly improvise on how else we could improve their environment and the different platforms that they are on, the different servers, the different systems and endpoints that they are on. So with this, what we want to complete is there are many verticals within the cybersecurity landscape. We are talking about application security, talking about endpoint management, server patch management, security intelligence, events monitoring, and many of the other solutions and tools that many of our customers are onboarded with. So what we want to do is to have a bi-integrated approach for the entire ecosystem in the customer's enterprise environment, so that we can have very quick visibility and control over what is happening in the customer's environment. So what happened is every time we go to a very new customer or to some of our existing customers, we realize that there are so many different type of tools and type of security technologies that are available for them to adopt. And we see this as actually as the number one obstacle for them into improving their security posture. So when we see what is available on the IT landscape within our customers' enterprise environment, we see different kind of firewalls. The firewalls being segmented into different offices, into different business units within the customer's organization. We have different network intrusion prevention systems, different kind of servers. You're running on Windows, Linux, and many different endpoints as well, including mobile, Android, iOS. So all of this, all the combination of the wide spectrum of capabilities within the IT landscape means that our customers actually have to spend a lot of time trying to integrate all the very disconnected point products. So what we are introducing to our customers is how else could we actually integrate many of this information. And of course, from the slide that you can see over here, we are seeing the kind of challenges that many of our customers are facing as the use of IT, the use of bring your own device, the use of the exponential growth of technology in their landscape meant that there's more and more things that they need to secure. So with more and more things that they need to secure, there are also more and more openings or areas where the computer hackers could actually initiate an attack into the environment. And all you need is actually one device or one server that is not up to date, that is not patched, and you could actually run a ransomware attack onto the environment, which we have seen on a global scale beginning last Friday, and we've been working very closely with our customers to help them secure and to improve their security posture. So from even from what we consider as a problem statement is that many of our customers are using so many security products, and many of them actually do not talk to one another. So you have a certain vendor of firewall and a certain vendor of a database security, but they don't interact with one another. So when there's a real attack happening, the firewall may pick it up, and the database server actually don't pick it up, or vice versa. So this lack of integration and the need to expand the skill set to learning more than one security tool is becoming a huge challenge for our customers' landscape. So what we propose to many of our customers is what we call the IBM Security Immune System. So from here, what you can see on the PowerPoint is right in the middle we have what we call the security analytics. So from here we are gathering all the information from all the different IT components within the customer's enterprise or within your enterprise. So on the top left side, you can see there's a security ecosystem where we actually have security consultants, researchers who are working very closely to understand more about the malware analysis, incident forensics, and many of the latest threats happening in the IT environment. Then you can see from endpoint perspective, we have different kind of Mac operating system, different version of Mac operating system, different Windows system, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10 in the customer's environment that they must secure. And within many of these endpoints, there are also many different applications that are being embedded within each of these different endpoints. So the question is also how else could we be better able to protect and secure many of these endpoints, since they are generally the first entry point of cyber attacks. Then on top, we have what we call a threat intelligence. So this is where we share many of our research findings, where we share many of our technologies or understanding of what is happening, or the latest threats, the zero-day attacks, the latest vulnerabilities with our customers. And then on the right side, we see their network information, where we are talking about firewalls, NIPS. How else could we better secure those information? How are we able to see what are the happenings occurring from the network layer? And of course, on the right side, we have advanced fraud. So when customers were to transact with many of our enterprises, how could we ensure that it was a secure transaction? How could we ensure that it was not a malicious user, malicious activity coming from abroad? And of course, going downwards, we have identity and access management, where we are also looking at how can we be certain that our system administrators are really doing what they have been privileged to act upon? Are they really using the permission to control and to administer the service? Or what are some of the audit and logging trail that we are able to ascertain the kind of rights and privileges and actions that they have been taking? And of course, many of our customers are moving to cloud. So we could see on the cloud, we have the Cloud Access Security Broker and Workload Protection. So could we enable our customers as they move towards the cloud platform? How could we secure those environments in conjunction with the on-premise solution that they have? And of course, we have data and applications. So data and application, we are talking about not just the database security itself, but all of the configuration files, all of the file systems, file system level permissions, and files that are affecting the database and the sensitive information within those file systems. So that itself is, again, a primary concern on how we could actually protect the crown jewels of our customers. And what about application security? There are many applications that are being deployed in the customer's environment or enterprise environment. What can we do to ensure that the applications are actually secure, that there are no unsecured code practices, and that everything goes through a highly automated, where we could see and scan through the entire application code, making sure that all the inputs, outputs, information are properly sanitized so that it's not susceptible to SQL injections, buffer overflow, and the likes. And of course, lastly, we have mobile on the most left side. So mobile is what we call the road to bring your own device, as we see more and more of our customers onboarding their employees to bring their own mobile devices. And with those mobile device access to important corporate data, how could we actually protect or to segregate the different enterprise content as well as the personal content, and be able to secure those enterprise information as tightly as possible, so that if there was a mobile device lost, or if the mobile device was being used as the initiation point of attack, then how could we actually secure them? So with the whole integration picture, with the whole cybersecurity immunity system, we can see that all of the segments or the circle that you see on each of the different vertical of cybersecurity is that we have many different the point products that are meant only for one segment of the cybersecurity landscape. But when we want to make them be able to speak to one another, we find that there is a big issue. So imagine if you're a large enterprise with maybe 10,000 employees, and you probably have a solution or multiple solutions for each of these bubbles. So the question is then, how are we better able to integrate many of these? How are we better able to integrate many of these tools so that we are able to make them work in conjunction with one another? So what we are trying to formalize here is, or to formulate here is, how are we better able to make all the tools, all the security products able to integrate with one another? So when I'm looking at say a SQL injection that are coming in from a web browser into your enterprise application system, what happens is it will go through the network intrusion prevention system first, or the network layer first. And in that instance, as it picks up the information of the action from the hacker, it goes into the security intelligence and events monitoring system. So the security intelligence and events monitoring system, or in the middle, the heart of the security immune system, picks up that information, and it's able to execute a block command onto the NIPS. And this completes the integration story, because it allows the tools to work with one another in a tightly closed loop remediation approach. So with this, when there are an attack going on, we are able, from the heart of the cybersecurity immune system, we can send execution commands to database protection systems, to network intrusion prevention systems, to firewalls, to endpoint management systems, to patch against, say, the latest ransomware attack. So this integration approach actually completes the cycle of defense against many of the computer hackers in the environment. And of course, when we look at the areas of protection that we can offer, we are looking at transformation services, where we are looking at how, from a very technical level, how we could actually help enable many of our customers in the environment to look at what are some of the gaps or some of the areas where we could improve from a consultative point of view or from a strategy point of view. What are the solutions that are necessary for them to embed into their environment? And of course, when we look at the way for us to improve the security program, we are looking at the different kind of skills that are available so that our customers can tap into our expertise, because we have more than 8,000 security consultants. Oh, there's a Q&A. So Taichin has a question on which security compliance initiatives does the Qradar support with built-in reporting. So for Qradar portion, which is the heart of the cybersecurity immune system, there are multiple security reporting compliance that we can actually use for reporting to management, reporting to the board on the security posture of your environment. So when you look at the healthcare sectors, we have HIPAA. So, or when you look at certain hardening checklists, we have the computer CIS as well, and we have hundreds of reporting that are available that could be used immediately to help you scan through your environment to see what are the gaps that we could actually help put against. So I think one of the customers that we have been speaking to recently was also looking at very firmly on the different components within the CIS checklist, or the OS hardening checklist, where they have a list of configuration changes or configuration requirements, and then they map it over to some of the compliance initiatives that are available in the market. Like when we look at availability of those security compliance, number one, you are also looking at items like so what we call is the Open Vulnerability Exposure Database. So there are also a list of those checklists that are available where you can map your requirements or to map the requirements from the industry back into your enterprise. So we have a list of many available so-called industry compliances checklists that we can use against. So I hope that answered the question. So going back to the presentation also is we realize that there is a lack of cybersecurity experts in the environment and in the landscape. So what we want to do is to enable our customers on the governance layer of how we could improve the security programs that are in their environment, so that they are able to see where are the gaps or where are the areas where it could be used to improve their security posture. So when we look at the security transformation services, it's about building the right security strategy that accelerates new IT trends, addresses skills shortages, and helps you stay ahead of rapidly changing techniques, which is critical to creating a more proactive and mature security environment. So the goal is to help you and our customers design an integrated framework with security management solutions, systems integration, and managed services to protect the enterprise. So now we come to an interesting portion of the presentation. So the Security Operation and Response Platform can actually help us orchestrate our defenses through the entire attack lifecycle. So what the goal is to provide a dynamic and integrated platform so that we can prevent, detect, and respond to threats along the entirety of the attack lifecycle. And the way to approach this is through an intelligent, orchestrated, and automated manner. And this approach allows us to continuously stop attacks and remediate those vulnerabilities. So when we look at the moment where we found a potential attack or attack vector or exploit in the environment, how could we actually remediate and patch those vulnerabilities immediately through our endpoint or server management system? And then to take advantage of cognitive analytics to see and to prioritize where are many of the unknown threats. So for Security Operations Center, for a medium-sized enterprise, we are looking at tens of thousands of events firing up, or offenses firing up every moment. So the goal is how could we prioritize, or how could we understand or automate many of the threats in the environment, and to remediate many of these threats through a controlled playbook where we could have a workflow management system in place also to see how we could push the different action items into different security consultants or personnel. And the goal will allow us to respond to incidents quickly and effectively, and also tapping into the deep threat intelligence provided by IBM X-Force research team and our massive threat databases to hunt for indicators. So there's another Q&A. So how timely and secure and effective are the Qradar's automated response capabilities? So we are looking at near real-time responses to threats, because when we are configuring many of the items or the IT components that we are protecting against, we are looking at sending log information in real time to the security intelligence and events monitoring system. So when those information are being sent in near real time, we are able to detect and to pull out information quickly so that we can respond very quickly back to remediating those offenses. So when we think about, say, a phishing attack, for example, so when let's say there was an email being sent by the malicious hacker into the one of your corporate employees' email address. So as the email server was to get information on the email, there are a lot of it information being created by the email servers, and then it is sent immediately into the security intelligence and events monitoring, where we are correlating multiple events, not just from the email server, but from the network layer servers, or from the network layer firewalls and routers, as well as the endpoint where the user could be browsing into the email itself. So with the correlation of multiple platforms into the security intelligence Qradar, we are able to pick out immediately what are the happening in the environment and where has the threat actually been sent over to, and where is the offense being triggered on. So with this, we are able to send the command over into the email server immediately, maybe before even the user has even been able to open up the email, and to block and to delete that email immediately by analyzing and to check and to reference against the IBM X-Force Exchange on the latest threats and vulnerabilities in the security landscape. So at the same time, it also depends on the kind of configuration settings that our customers have and how much they want to optimize their security posture as well as their security configuration in the environment. So it's most of our customers will definitely be using near real-time information to help secure or to be able to respond timely, very quickly, within seconds, for many of these offenses to their enterprise environment. So moving back to the slide, what we can see is we have a portfolio of solution on the security operation and response platform. So with this integrated set of solution, we could use items like IBM BigFix, where we could find, fix, and secure endpoint threats and vulnerabilities. We have the IBM Security Network Protection, where we use to prevent network exploits and limit malware communications. And we have the advanced analytics to discover and eliminate threats using the IBM Qradar Security Intelligence. And of course, we have the response playbooks and coordinate activity using IBM Resilient Incident Response Platform. And of course, we can automatically update incident artifacts with threat intelligence. So the combination and by integration of many of these solutions could actually help us mitigate and to remediate many of the cyber attacks that are occurring in the environment. So I think for one of the, what happened a week ago on Friday was there was a ransomware attack that happened across the globe. So what we were able to do, we were able to pick up the malware, which already has a signature in March 2017. So with the signature of the malware, and at the same time with our BigFix, which is software patch management, we were able to correlate the attack that was potentially coming in. And with this, we pushed for a security update into many of our customers who have already adopted BigFix into their environment. So with the combination of use of Qradar and BigFix, we were able to push for the endpoint to be patched immediately, way before, a month before, in fact, the attack occurred last week. So the goal is how could we, in a way, have a very secure environment by leveraging on many of the research and information and security patches, as well as signatures that are already available onto this Qradar platform, where we could secure and to protect against many of these potential zero-day attacks. In fact, it wasn't even considered a zero-day attack for this ransomware, because the signatures was already available two months ago in March 2017, and at the same time, the security patches were available for the Microsoft users to update their endpoints so that they are not susceptible to those attacks. But when we when we have a discussion with our customers, our potential customers who had to work against those attacks that were coming in, what we recognize is that there were lack of visibility into their enterprise environment. They were unaware of the security patch coverage within each of the individual endpoint in their endpoint management system. So what had to be done was that we had to push in the security intelligence and events monitoring system, as well as the endpoint patch management into their landscape, so that we are better able to have a clear visibility, and to push and to execute the patch management into each and every of the endpoint in their environment. So we have the information risk and protection domain, which can help you keep your critical information protected while accelerating your business by safeguarding and governing users, applications, and critical information wherever they live, in the cloud, on mobile devices, or even on premises. So cloud and mobile computing, social media, big data, and Internet of Things are just a few of the innovations making dramatic changes to the business landscape. And the result is more connectivity across users, applications, data, and transactions than ever before. And that means more security issues for everyone involved. The solution that comprise the information risk and protection domain can help protect your information while keeping your employees productive. They are designed to help safeguard critical data, users, applications, and transactions wherever they live, in the cloud, on mobile devices, or on local servers and media. They allow you and our customers to identify business risks such as abnormal insider activity, rogue cloud app usage, or web fraud with identity analytics and real-time alerts, and gain control of users' access and development using identity governance intelligence, app and data protection, DevOps security, and mobile security, and to safeguard interactions with adaptive access and web app protection, identity federation to and from the cloud, data compliance, and secure mobile collaboration. So the diagram is a powerful representation of IBM's investment in these security domains and the integration necessary to get differentiated value out of the solutions. So the IBM Security Information Risk and Protection Solutions highlighted on this graphic help enable you to get visibility and control and protection of cloud applications in the IBM Cloud Security, mobile productivity, and enterprise security without compromise on our IBM Mass 360, where we could enable our customers to bring your own device on their personal mobile devices, and to govern and enforce context-based access to critical assets through our IBM Identity Governance and Access Management, and to protect the crown jewels across the enterprise and cloud using our IBM Guardian, and to scan and remediate vulnerabilities and modern applications through our IBM Application Security, and of course to stop finance and phishing, fraud, and account takeovers using our IBM Trust Tier. So we have developed 4 use cases to illustrate how components of the IBM Security Immune System work together to address specific threats. So from here, we can see one is the failed audit compliance audit, the drive-by download, the insider threat, as well as the potential fraud. So like most large organizations around the world today, this fictional company works hard to stay on top of expanding and ever-changing security compliance environment. But despite its best effort, it has failed a recent regulator-led audit and was found to be non-compliant with a set of newly released rules. And the incident results in a fine and considerable reputational damage. This is where elements of the security transformation services domain come into play. So the audit failure triggers an automatic security immune system response, which calls upon IBM Security Strategy, Risk and Compliance Services to help evaluate audit findings, along with the company's IT risk management framework metrics and risk objectives. So in addition, Security Framework and Risk Assessment for IBM provides the company with a list of existing gaps, prioritized according to business impact, and a set of recommended solutions for addressing any potential regulatory compliance gaps. The company also gives a proposal for updated security education and training to help head off audit issues. So for remediation, so what we are saying is we have a deployment and migration services from IBM which allow the company to implement the necessary risk management solution and align its governance practices. Remediation measures also establish new metrics to allow for better visibility into the effectiveness of the company's controls. And also we have ongoing monitoring. So once new metrics are established, IBM automated IT risk management services allow the company to automatically monitor those metrics. This cost-effective solution can align multiple aspects of the company's security program, offering increased visibility into control and compliance gaps and facilitating quick resolution. And of course, with the help of IBM Security Strategy and Planning Services and IBM Security Architecture and Program Design Services, the company can ensure that the key components of its compliance management efforts will be continuously evaluated and improved, allowing for ongoing compliance monitoring. So this is the big picture overview where the IBM Security Immune System could call upon specific solutions to address issues raised in the case of failed compliance audit. So I see there is a Q&A on what forensic capabilities can you provide given the examples you shared. So over here we can see the case in point, the drive-by download. So it illustrates how there are countless ways in which determined attackers might go about getting into your systems without your knowledge. And it happens all the time. So this is an example of how one such attack might be played out and how several security operations and response solutions can help disrupt the attack chain in real time. So again, another fictional company's account executive is in a taxi, and on his way to the airport for a trip to a customer site. So he's stuck in traffic. He pulls out his laptop, checks the company's intranet for some project details, and sends out a few emails. What he doesn't know is that he triggered an attack via drive-by download, which is a program that is automatically downloaded to your computer without your consent or knowledge. So unfortunately, because this account manager is always on the road, he hasn't had much contact with the company's IT security team. So his laptop has not been updated with the latest patches. So IBM BigFix will allow the company's IT security team to discover unmanaged endpoints such as employees' laptop, gaining real-time visibility into all of the company's endpoints to identify vulnerabilities and those endpoints that are non-compliant. So as it turns out, the account executive had indeed missed getting the latest patches installed on his laptop. By the time he reaches the airport, the download has already latched onto the company's network and infect its internal system as part of a botnet. So with IBM Security Network Protection, the company will be able to gain visibility into the network traffic and actively block communication with the botnet's command and control server based on intelligence from IBM X-Force Exchange. It can also effectively block zero-day exploit traffic and then send those traffic flows to IBM Qradar Security Information and Event Management for anomaly detection. So without those safeguards in place, however, the company unwittingly allows the attack to continue, targeting internal emails sent to high-profile employees. At this point, Qradar could still help halt the attack by correlating network traffic flows and security events from other security controls, plus external intelligence on botnets from IBM X-Force Exchange into a list of priority offenses. So the attackers soon come within striking distance, gaining the authorization needed to access the company's resources. Qradar Incident Forensics will now be able to reconstruct abnormal user and database activity from the associated network packet data. So this again comes back to the question from Saiqian: what forensic capabilities can you provide given the examples you shared? So we are able to replay the entire network traffic that was part of the cybersecurity attack. We can replay or reconstruct the entire payload or the attack payload which the computer hacker has used to gain malicious access into the corporate environment. So this will allow investigators to discover less obvious data connections and previously hidden relationships across multiple IDs. So if the attackers manage to reach the point of siphoning out the company's data, the IBM Resilient Incident Response Platform could help the company's security team analyze, respond, resolve, and mitigate the incident as quickly as possible, so they could take action to prevent or mitigate the damage inflicted by the attack. So we have seen this IBM Security Immunity System, which will call upon specific solutions to address the issues raised in the case of drive-by download. So next, we have the insider threat. So another company in 2015, 60% of attacks were carried out by insiders, either with malicious intent or inadvertent attacks. In other words, those attacks were instigated or initiated by people you would likely trust with access to your company's assets, including hard copy documents, disks, electronic files, laptops. Insiders could be employees of the company or business partners, clients, or even maintenance contractors. So with multiple locations in both urban and suburban settings, these companies employ a large number of individuals, including part-time hourly workers and several levels of management personnel. So in addition, there are often teams of contractors brought in to work on special projects. The one thing they all have in common, a need for ongoing access for the company's systems and data. The company uses IBM Security Privileged Identity Management to help prevent advanced insider threats. It provides a centralized approach to managing access to privileged accounts, allowing users to check out these accounts when they need access to sensitive systems only. And each of these special sessions is automatically recorded, providing an audit trail and helping to ensure that privileged access is not misused. In addition, the company relies on IBM Security Guardian to cross-reference that information as it audits user access to data that's either at rest or in motion. So while monitoring and auditing privileged user access, Guardian can also identify abnormal or suspicious behavior and block illicit data and file access with real-time response. One day, the system observed that several large files have been downloaded onto a thumb drive by one of the company's part-time employees. Because the system recognizes the action as unusual activity, given the employee's responsibilities, it issues an alert flagging that behavior, or it could deny access to the data in question. The company might also take advantage of IBM Qradar user behavior analytics to gain early visibility into related insider threats by analyzing other employees' usage patterns to determine if their credentials or system have been compromised. It can identify users by name, add suspects to a watch list, or drill down into underlying log and flow data. And Guardian can also share any illicit activity it finds to help Qradar user behavior analytics fine-tune its analytics, and then in turn share any anomalous behavior it finds with Guardian. So going a step further, Qradar can actually help companies pull together a clearer picture of potential problems by using analytics to correlate Privileged Identity Manager credentials with Guardian activities to detect anomalies and trigger alerts. And IBM Mass 360 lets the company manage and safeguard its mobile devices, applications, and content while maintaining data security and personal privacy. So IBM Security Identity Governance Intelligence lets the company, IT managers, and auditors govern insider access and ensure regulatory compliance across the organization. It helps the company mitigate access risk, access policy violations by combining intelligence-driven, business-driven identity governance with end-to-end user lifecycle management. What's more, it checks for segregation of duties violations. Can a manager access an audit file, for example, and runs access certification campaigns to ensure the validity of privileged access rights. So seeing from the big picture over here, this is how we will call upon specific solutions to address the issue raised in the case of an insider threat in your enterprise. So of course, we also have the potential for fraud. So most companies would find it difficult to discuss IT security without talking about fraud. And that's essentially true for financial services organizations. Our fictional company here is engaged in the consumer side of the financial services business. So some of the very conveniences that banks now routinely offer customers, which I think you're very aware of if you're a user of a bank as well, is that There are a lot of automated teller machines, credit cards, mobile banking apps, having introduced a level of accessibility that goes a long way toward making the financial system highly vulnerable to cyber attacks. But information risk and protection solutions can help reduce the risk of fraud without complicating the user experience. So over here we have, say Laura is a customer of our bank who wants to move money from one of her accounts to another account via mobile phone. And it takes just a few seconds for her to log in, use her online ID and security code. But in those few seconds, IBM Security Access Manager is validating Laura's password, determining her location, making note of the date and time, and then identifying the IP address of the device she's using. Doing so helps the bank block fraudulent and high-risk transactions by analyzing user information and correlating user behavior and device attributes in real time, so it can determine whether Laura is who she says she is. So IBM Trusted Solution actually help us figure out whether Laura is a true customer or fraudster by determining whether the device she's using is valid, analyzing her behavior, and helping to verify that neither her credentials nor her phone have been compromised. Trusted also notes that Laura isn't just checking her account balance, but wants to transfer funds from one account to another. So if it finds any evidence to suspect that it's dealing with a fraudster, it can restrict functionality based on bank policies without alerting him or her that they have been detected. All this happens behind the scenes, in seconds, without giving Laura any reason to know or care about what's going on. So of course, there are circumstances under which Laura's action might be subject to additional scrutiny to help protect both the bank and herself. For example, ISAM could move to enforce additional rules, asking Laura to perform a second authentication step, such as getting a second password if she wanted to transfer over $10,000. And if she wanted to transfer millions of dollars, even multi-step authentication would likely be insufficient. She would instead be told to visit the bank in person. So this is how the IBM Security Immune System will call upon specific solutions to address the issues raised in the case of potential fraud. So what we're really suggesting in today's seminar is that a piecemeal approach to security simply will not work. It's time to move beyond methods that assemble defenses for specific needs, but lack the integration to extend security across enterprise asset and vulnerabilities. So it's time for a comprehensive, integrated security immune system that delivers leading technology, best practices, and flexibility. And to protect your valuable resources, we need a system that relies on today's intelligence. So lastly, we have the high-level overview of IBM Security. So we are the #1 in enterprise security software and services since 2016, actually. So we continue to remain #1 this year as well. From the financial year 2015-2016, we'll be #1. In fact, we employ more than 8,000 security consultants across the globe already, and we have multiple customers across the world. So if we are looking in terms of large-scale deployments, we are looking at deployments that requires tremendous expertise, then we will be the one who can help you address those requirements. So with this, we have come to the end of the webinar.
Okay, thank you very much, Yang, for the comprehensive presentation. Actually, there's just questions that I have. With so many solutions that we have, how would the organization be able to pick and choose or identify what exactly they need?
Yeah, so thanks, David, for the question. So I think for this, what happens is we will, with many of our customers, what happens is we always have an initial discussion with them to review, assess, and to evaluate what is their current security posture, and then to see, to plan out a roadmap with our customers together with Ready Space to see how we could actually work closely to identify those areas that are of the highest priority to work on first. And then from there, through the roadmap that we have designed together with the customer, we see in each segment or in each phases of the roadmap, how could we onboard certain solution on first. So it could be Qradar, it could be BigFix, It could be many different of the solution that we could help piece together to address what is the security gaps that they are having, and then to finalize those as we work very closely with our customers.
I see. Okay. So actually for this, because you have been mentioning a lot for enterprise.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
How long actually would the process be like for a typical enterprise to start off this? You mentioned about this analysis process, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Right. Yeah. What is the time frame that is required?
Okay. So usually, so it also depends on I think there are many factors involved, but usually, when we talk to our, let's say a local base only company, for example, maybe 5,000 users, for example. So usually the initial discussion is always about what are the kind of security tools that they already have, what are the kind of products that are in use, and then from there, probably a month to 2 months, well, we would have understood all of their requirements and what are the areas where we could come in to help close in the gap. So usually within 1 month to 3 months, we'll be able to onboard a solution that could integrate many of the point products that they already have. Yep.
Okay, so it typically takes about 3 months.
Yep, that's correct. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so how about for small businesses?
Small businesses.
What do you recommend small businesses to start off?
Yep.
I mean,
yep.
Yeah, maybe you can advise us.
So I think as a start also, for many of our commercial space customers, let's say they have about maybe between 200 employees to 500 employees, or even maybe up to 1,000 employees. So I think the very first step is they will need a 360-degree view or 360-degree visibility into their environment. So I think QRadar will definitely be the first stage of adoption that they will need, and then followed by a big fix, which will help secure their endpoints as well as a server from a patch management perspective. And then the by integration of these two will be the very first phase of the security immune system, which we can help our customers onboard so that they at least have the foundational piece of the security immune system being developed, so that we could help them have a good understanding of the visibility in the enterprise environment. Yep.
Okay. So with this type of setup, it looks like it will take a lot of time and lots of manpower. How many people do you think is required for a typical SME or enterprise to be involved? Yeah, to go through the process before we decide, whether we should have a QRadar.
Okay. So that's one of the key questions that many of our customers ask. So they say, what if the solution is very complicated, very complex, and very hard to use, etc. So actually, I mean, we have a security operations center, right? That's actually deployed in Temasek Polytechnic. So Temasek Poly is one of the educational institutes in Singapore, where the Security Operations Center, based on IBM QRadar as well as our network intrusion prevention system, the students were able to pick up those information or pick up the skills that are necessary to operate those platforms very easily. So the whole goal of our platforms, right, is to actually allow our customers to do a lot of self-service. So when we are looking at, let's say, a customer organization about 200 employees, so maybe they have a smaller deployment of QRadar and a big fix for endpoint of about 200 users, then actually for QRadar itself, one person manning the platform and another person manning the big fix platform would actually be more than enough to operate the security tools or platforms from IBM. And then at the same time, of course, if you're talking about even of a scale of 1,000 employees, maybe we could double or triple the manpower necessary. Else, we could tap into Ready Space security consultants from Ready Space who could actually provide the training or hands-on, so handover of knowledge transfer to our customers as well, to enable them to kickstart and to have those initiation part of the project being initiated.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. So actually, yeah. So as you mentioned, at Ready Space, we will be able to help customers, whether big or small, to deploy the system faster, in a shorter time. and at the same time advise the necessary tools that is needed for the organization together with IBM.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so that as a whole, we are able to protect your organization, our customers, to have a safe security, cybersecurity. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so because of time, I guess we have to stop here.
Okay.
And if there's any questions,
there's a question from Hermento.
Okay,
yeah,
please.
Yeah, he mentioned we are preparing SaaS online store as subscription, similar to Shopify with monthly subscription. Do we need security solutions such as IBM, or can we independent only on the hosting server? So Hermento, thanks for the question here. So I think for online stores such as Shopify, for example, that are monthly subscription based, right? So I think in terms of the load factor, in terms of the in fact, most web platforms are actually the first target of choice for many of the attackers, especially on the e-commerce landscape. So to be frank with you, I think there are a lot of security components that are actually necessary in e-commerce space. So I think some of our very large customers in the e-commerce space are also adopting our solution to help them have the mitigation, the remediation, detect, response platforms where they could actually see firsthand what are the kind of attack vectors that are coming in. So when you mention this, right, definitely your e-commerce platform will be the very first choice of target for many of the computer hackers now. And for example, if there was a fraudulent activity coming in where the credit card is not actually being used by the actual user, but being used by a malicious user, again, that itself is also a key question of what the customers or the consumers in the online stores actually want to be able to ascertain when they are transacting with your online store as well. So definitely there are many, for example, when you look at the case study on the fraudster case, also there will be one pretty big area where our customers are asking us also, how can we be sure that the person transacting with us is the actual person coming in as well. So we have to use items like user behavior analytics. We have to use items like how do we integrate with the mobile application that they have for their online store as well. So you can think of some of the biggest banks in the world that are already adopting our solution on this as well. So for Hermento's question, are we dependent only on the hosting server? So if you are, I mean, to be frank, if you have certain transactional size, then I would say that yes, definitely you have to onboard certain security tools into your online store.
Okay. Great. Okay, so if there's no questions, Yang, maybe you can give us some last words of advice for our listeners today.
Yeah.
Our attendees today.
Okay, thanks. So last word for advice is, I think we've been very busy the past 1 week helping many of our customers in the enterprise landscape to secure their environment for the recent ransomware. And my word of advice is, if you think that the cost of security is high, then I would say why not try the cost of being unsecured. Yeah. So that is my last word of advice for today's webinar.
Wow, that's really great. A great word. Okay, so thank you everybody for attending today's seminar. We will be having, we had this webinar recorded, so do stay tuned with the URL of the webinar conference room. You'll also receive information about the download if you need to. And we look forward to see you on the next webinar that we're going to have. Yep. So thank you, Yang, and thank you, everybody. That's all for today.
Okay, thanks, David. All right.
Thanks.
Bye.